In this talk, we seek to describe how UX practitioners actively work to build a bridge between their evolving philosophy of design and the translation of that philosophy when faced with the complexity of design practice. We will focus today on the tensions that emerge as designers' philosophies are shaped by their industry context and other forces. I'm presenting this work on behalf of Chris Rees-Watkins and the other co-authors on this project. The contribution of this paper is twofold. First, we provide an initial framework of design philosophy dimensions that were constructed during the participants' design-focused HCI or UX education. These dimensions represent areas of perceived salience or focus that provide opportunities for further pedagogical support and may productively shape practitioner-focused interventions, particularly in relation to methods that are intended to support everyday design practices. Second, we map elements of design philosophy in relation to individual and industry stakeholder forces, identifying tensions that emerge when designers seek to enact their values and design philosophy. These tensions, resulting in the possibility of both positive and negative outcomes, lays the groundwork for further study of ethical design practices, shifting the research conversation from instrumental to interactional terms. In this paper, we draw equally from three separate strands of HCI and design literature to investigate the complex and interactional nature of UX practice. First, we build upon practice-led research approaches to investigate design activity on the ground and on its own terms, building upon prior work in both physical and digital contexts in which scholars have described the complex nature of practice in conceptual, performative, and competence-focused ways. Second, building upon design theory and philosophy literature, we use Stolterman's notion of design complexity as a sensitizing concept with which to investigate everyday work practices, revealing not only the instrumental means by which design activity is supported, but also the subjective and personal experience of individual designers that mediates any given design situation. Building upon work on design philosophy, we identify aspects of individual designers' philosophies and use this language to describe moments where one's philosophy is fulfilled and supported or confronted and marginalized. Third, we draw upon these two previous threads of scholarship together in conjunction with the work of Gregg, Toombs, and Gross on flows of competence to describe not only a designer's subjective and individual experience, but the ways in which this subjectivity is experienced over time and in relation to multiple stakeholder forces. In this paper, we use an interview study to offer a descriptive account of how UX design students and practitioners enact their individual philosophy of design, and how this philosophical lens expands our view of organizational forces that might suppress or enable user-centered approaches to design activity. We recruited 10 participants that had been educated in one of 4 US UX and/or HCI programs that were self-described as design-oriented and included some indication of the use of studio pedagogy, a hallmark of design education that has its roots in traditional art and design education. We used our professional networks, LinkedIn, and faculty contacts within each program to create a snowball sample of participants, stratifying the sample by student or professional status. In total, we recruited 10 participants, 4 of whom were current practitioners, and 6 which were pursuing a bachelor's or master's degree in HCI or UX. Each protocol used an critical interview approach, focusing on facilitating participants' reflection in relation to their academic and practitioner experiences, with prompts to further explore particular aspects of their design philosophy as it was originally formed, how it had evolved, and how this philosophy was articulated in their professional interactions. Our analysis followed Brown and Clark's thematic analysis approach, resulting in 9 themes relating to dimensions of UX practitioners and students' design philosophy. Through discussion among research team members, we then identified tensions among these aspects of design philosophy and how they were adopted, or not, in practice as a key source of interest, building upon Gray et al.'s 4 flows of competence as a priori themes to inform further analysis. We will not seek to fully describe each dimension in this talk and would encourage you to refer to the paper for more details. Each dimension addresses different aspects of human-centered design and the relationship of these components to articulation in everyday design work. We will focus our discussion of findings on the tensions that emerged as designers negotiate their way among and through the previously mentioned dimensions of their design philosophy. We list here 4 such tensions that were experienced by the designers and design students that we interviewed. Each tension includes a mapping of felt versus performed values and an interaction between individual philosophy and the performance of that philosophy in an industry setting. These first 2 tensions represent situations where the designer is able to successfully perform aspects of their design philosophy in industry contexts. Synergy refers to a case where the design philosophy of the individual is shared and acted upon by the collective group, with no need for contest by the individual. In one example, Sarah reported that she did not have to work hard to educate company stakeholders about the value of what she could produce as a UX designer. Fulfillment after contest refers to a situation where an individual's design philosophy is acted upon by the collective group, but only after the individual successfully argues their case for a particular action or shift to take place based upon their beliefs and/or other sources of evidence. Daniel related, in the context of a banking tool, that they encouraged their external client to focus more on debt reduction strategies, realigning the client's original priority of building an elaborate tool to organize spending activities. These second two tensions represent situations where the designer is forced to act in ways that are in opposition to their design philosophy. Nullifying after contest refers to a situation where the design philosophy dimension of the individual is constrained and not acted upon by the group, even after the individual pleads their case for an alternative action. In one example related by Rosie, she was under pressure to deliver product, and even when she provided insights into how it should be done, it often had little impact on the actual implementation of her work. Finally, suppression with no contest takes place when an individual's design philosophy is not shared by the collective group, and the individual chooses not to contest or interject due to any number of reasons, such as the contrast in value so large that it might make it feel like time was wasted to object in the context of the situation. One of the most common experiences related by our participants was the inability to get time with users, thus suppressing any opportunities to engage in user-facing research work. Based on our participants' challenges in enacting their design philosophy, it has become clear that effective UX practice is not just about building competence, although that formation and replenishment of foundational skills is important, but also in building the capacity to negotiate one's competence with others. In this sense, the concept of a design philosophy provides valuable insights into not only the development of individual designers, but also in identifying opportunities to encourage UX advocacy and further evaluate what skills and cultural norms need to be in place for design-based approaches to succeed in industry settings. These findings represent a new space where studio work can bridge academic and professional contexts, not only in creating a quasi-professional space in educational contexts where design knowledge and practice can meet, but also in identifying patterns of deliberation and negotiation, where theories and conceptual knowledge that is built in educational settings continue to have utility long after a student has graduated from a design-focused HCI program. This points towards an ongoing translation between academic and professional worlds and sources of knowledge that allows for a negotiation space to be broached in relation to one's own design philosophy. The values and tensions highlighted within the study provide a lens through which to view the building of a design character that takes place for students educated in design-oriented programs. By creating an environment that anticipates a continual translational bridge between academia and practice, students may better understand and be prepared for how to effectively act upon tensions relating to their design philosophy. Further research may also be useful in describing how the design studio bridge functions as a liminal space where identity work and the languaging of that identity occurs. Future work might leverage this bridge further to build students' understanding and articulation of their own design philosophy. We would like to acknowledge the support of the National Science Foundation in conducting this research, and thank you for listening.